She banged on the cabin door like it was hers and screamed, "You're trespassing here! I've already called the cops!" My hands were still shaking from the sound of breaking glass minutes earlier. Her teenage son had kicked in my back window trying to get inside. I caught him red-handed, half his body stuck through the frame before he ran off crying that I attacked him. Now his mother, the self-proclaimed HOA queen, stood on my porch waving a paper in my face. "This property belongs to the association now. Pack your stuff," she yelled. I wanted to laugh, but my heart was pounding too hard. I had owned this land since my grandfather passed it down, and no HOA had any authority here. Still, the way she looked at me, like I was some squatter stealing her dream home, was enough to make me clench my fists. Then, sirens cut through the trees, and my stomach dropped. She really had called the cops, and she was pointing at me like I was the criminal. The cruiser stopped right in front of my cabin, lights flashing across the trees. Karen ran to them, fake tears rolling down her cheeks. "Officer, arrest him! He attacked my son and broke into this property!" she cried, her voice shaking like she was the victim. The cops looked at me, then at her, clearly confused. I kept my hands raised, calm but boiling inside. "She's lying," I said. "This is my land. Her kids smashed my window trying to get in." Karen shoved a folded paper into one of the officer's hands. "Here, proof from the HOA. He has no right to be here. We already voted him out." The officer glanced at it, his brows furrowing. The paper wasn't official, just some printed notice with fake seals and bold letters. Still, he asked me to step aside. "Sir, we just need to clear this up." My chest tightened. Karen smirked behind him, whispering to her son, "Don't worry, he's going to jail tonight." For a moment, I felt trapped, cornered on my own porch. But then, I remembered the motion cameras I'd installed after hunting season. They recorded everything, including her son breaking into my window. I almost smiled, but I stayed quiet. It wasn't time to play my card yet. One of the officers started circling the cabin, shining his flashlight through the broken window. "Looks like forced entry," he muttered. Karen gasped dramatically, clutching her son. "Yes, that's where he tried to get inside. My poor boy stopped him before he could steal anything." Her son nodded quickly, eyes darting to the ground. I clenched my jaw but stayed still. The second officer looked me up and down. "Sir, do you have proof this property belongs to you?" That was her moment. Karen stepped forward, snapping, "Of course he doesn't! He's squatting here! Everyone in the neighborhood knows. Just get him out before he hurts someone." She was shaking with confidence, convinced the lies were working. My pulse slowed because I had been waiting for that question. "Yeah," I said, pulling a folded packet from my coat. "Deed, tax records, survey maps. This land has been mine since my grandfather passed it down, and no HOA had any authority here." "Do you want me to roll into Section 4? Karen's son suddenly shouted, "He shoved me! He tried to drag me inside!" His voice cracked, but it was loud enough for the officers to snap their heads toward me. Karen grabbed his arm, pulling him close like she was protecting him from a monster. "See? My child was almost kidnapped, and you're standing here debating paperwork?" The lie hit hard. The officer holding my deed stiffened, his hand inching toward his radio. For a split second, I thought they might actually cuff me. My throat burned, but I forced myself to stay calm. "Check the cameras," I said, pointing to the motion sensor on the cabin's corner. "Everything is recorded." Karen laughed, a sharp, ugly laugh. "Don't waste time. He probably printed that footage himself." But her son's eyes widened, and I caught it. He hadn't realized the break-in was caught on video. He tugged her sleeve nervously, whispering something. She brushed him off, hissing through her teeth, "Shut up." One of the officers walked over to the camera, inspecting the small red light still blinking. "It's active," he said flatly. Karen froze. For the first time, the cracks in her perfect act were showing. "Go ahead," I told them. "Steady now. Pull the footage. You'll see who really broke into this cabin." The smirk slid right off her face.
The officers connected their tablet to the camera feed, and the silence that followed was almost sweet. The screen showed Karen's son kicking at the back window, shoving himself halfway through before scrambling out and running off. Clear as daylight. Karen's face drained of color, but she quickly lunged forward. "That's not what it looks like. He was trying to stop a burglar." One officer turned the tablet toward her. "Ma'am, this is your son breaking into the cabin, nobody else." Her son's voice cracked. "Mom, stop!" But she snapped at him. "Quiet! Don't say another word!" He shrank back, guilt plastered across his face. The officer who'd been listening to her lies this whole time finally sighed and unclipped his cuffs, but not for me. He grabbed the boy's wrists gently. "Son, you're under arrest for breaking and entering." Karen screamed like the world had ended, clawing at the officer's arm. "You can't do this. He's just a child." Her fake tears had vanished, replaced with raw panic. She tried to wedge herself between them, but the other cop blocked her path. I stood on my porch, silent, watching the same woman who demanded my arrest, now begging for mercy. Her power had shattered in seconds, and deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Karen spun on me like a wild storm. "You set him up! You planted that footage!" she shrieked, her face twisted with rage. The officers held her back, but she was trembling so hard it looked like she might bite through her own tongue. "He's dangerous!" she yelled at them. "He's not even supposed to be here! My HOA banned him!" The taller cop squared his shoulders. "Ma'am, HOA rules don't override state law, and they sure don't give you the right to fake eviction notices." His voice was sharp now, no patience left. He pulled the same fake paper she'd handed over earlier and folded it slowly. "This is fraud. Do you want to explain that?" Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. She glanced at her son in cuffs, then at the woods around us, as if searching for an escape route. I couldn't help it. I finally spoke. "Funny thing," I said, keeping my voice low but steady. "I've served in the military for 20 years. I've dealt with people trying to intimidate me before. You're not even close." Karen's jaw dropped. For the first time, she looked small. Not powerful, not entitled, just cornered. The officers exchanged a quick look. "Sir, thank you for staying calm. We'll be contacting you for a statement." Karen muttered something under her breath, something I couldn't catch, but I saw it in her eyes. She wasn't done fighting. Not yet. Karen's desperation boiled over. As the officers guided her son toward the cruiser, she lunged at me, jabbing her finger in my chest. "This isn't over! I'll ruin you! I'll have the whole HOA here tomorrow!" Her voice cracked into a scream, echoing through the trees. The cops pulled her back, but I just stood there, unmoving. I'd seen worse threats overseas. Her words were nothing compared to the real battles I'd fought. The taller officer stepped in between us. "Ma'am, that's enough. If you don't calm down, we'll add resisting and harassment to the charges." She spat on the ground, eyes blazing. "Do it! You'll regret siding with him!" That's when my truck lights blinked on by themselves. Karen froze, confusion flashing across her face. I clicked the remote in my pocket, unlocking the doors. Every inch of this land is wired with cameras. I've got recordings of her trespassing, screaming threats, and planting fake notices on my door. If you need more proof, I'll hand it over. The officers looked at each other, then at Karen. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing and filing a false police report." They turned her around, snapping cuffs on her wrists. She shrieked, thrashing like a cornered animal, but there was no saving her now. As the cruisers pulled away, her son in one, her in the other, I stood alone on the porch. The night had gone still, but my gut told me this fight had only exposed the surface of something deeper. Karen wasn't just an angry neighbor. She was part of something bigger.